Alright guys, it's 1 a.m. in the morning, but that's okay. We're going to get this done. At least get a head start here. So we got the engine out of the 2018 STI, and as you can see in front of me, we got the type array all assembled. Everything's ready to go. The only thing is I need to put the cylinder heads on. These are built, fully built W25 heads. The internals on these cylinder heads are BC retainers, beehive springs, and stainless steel valves, DSC power division 1 millimeter over. And it's going to have stage 2 cams. Other than that, it is also getting ARP 2000 head bolts, so we will be installing those tonight or this morning, whatever, with all the new cylinder heads. These are funky fresh. They just got back from the machine shop a couple days ago. So we're going to assemble this and let's get started. Sorry, I didn't get a video of us putting the ARP head bolts on, but that's okay because it's relatively pretty easy. We're gonna put the cylinder head on, and to torque down everything, it's just 30, 60, 90 for these ARP head bolts. Really easy, straightforward. So let's put the cylinder head on. We got the gasket on, all ready to go. Line up the dowel pins. Press it down. Now we're going to grab our handy dandy bag of hardware. We're going to put down the washers first. And I like to put a little bit of assembly lube on these just so we get a nice accurate reading and the nuts don't seize to the bolts. So it's always good to add a little assembly lube. I already did that on the bottom of the ARP bolts before we thread them in the block. And then we'll do that as well. We'll pour in some lube up on top of these top threads. All right, we got all the washers on, all 6 of them. Now, here's the nuts. So those are a 12.14, so we'll tighten those down to spec. Alright, so just like in previous videos, guys, A, B, C, D, E, F, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to start in alphabetical order or numerical order. 30 all the way around, 60, 90. Alright guys, after a long needed break, we're back on the 2017-2018 STI engine build. So I have this head on. Actually, I do need to finish torquing it down. I did the other side. Same thing, if you go on the previous videos, you'll see the alphabetical or numerical sequence to torque these heads down. Now these are ARP 2000, so we're gonna do 30, 60, 90 in alphabetical order. So let's get started. So I did lube up all of the bolts like supposed to. Alright, so we're just gonna tighten down all these head bolts, not with the gun, but we're gonna get them close, and then we'll torque them all down. Now we can get started on the sequence. Let's do it. Alright, we're wrapping it up for the 30 foot-pounds onto the 60, and then the 90, and that's it. Set your torque wrench. 60 newton meters. No, I'm just kidding. 60 foot-pounds. All right, after a little stability struggle, we're up to 60 foot-pounds. Next is the 90 foot-pounds. 90. All right, after a little bit of a struggle, we're done. We're gonna put the cams in right now, cam caps, and the cam seals. got intake, nice and lubed up. Exhaust cam seal. I like to put these in beforehand. Other people may beg to differ, but to each its own. I've never had an issue putting them in this way. This way as in before putting the front cam cap, the ABCS cam cap on and putting the cam seals in. I like to put them in before. Alright, now with this, we're going to lube up the journals. We're going to put gasket maker pretty much here, here, and here. So let's get started. Very little, not too much, not too little, but enough. Alright, we're going to get some oil. We're going to lube up those cam journals. It's just a common sense assembly. Alright. Flip this sucker over. Alright guys, so now we're going to put the back cam caps on. And I'm pretty sure in the last video that I posted of the last engine assembly, I told you guys how to read these out. So in the back of the cylinder head and in the front, on the front cam cap, they have numbers 825. So making sure we got 825. And they have the number of the cylinder, which is obviously, it'll start with the number 1, 3, 2, or 4, and that's the number of the cylinder. And it'll have I or E, that's for intake or exhaust. So we got number 3 intake, we know that goes there. We're gonna have to lube these up, and we got number 3 exhaust, we know that goes there. So we're gonna grab our cam cap bolts, our hardware, get everything in its place. Always make sure everything's clean of debris, any dust or anything like that before you assemble it. Because all this is covered inside of the valve cover, so any nasty crud will affect all of the moving parts after you put it together. Now we're not going to grunk these down with the gun, but we're going to get them all the way down. Now these do get torqued down to 14.5. Sometimes I like to give a little bit more, like 14.7, 14.8. The front ones are going to be at 7, but these actually, the front ones will strip easy, so be careful of the front ones. Now these also have a torque sequence as well, and we'll go over that another time on the next engine. Only because I'm on a time crunch, guys. I'm on a big time crunch. Yes, I get it, I've been taking my time, but it's for a reason. Don't want to rush an engine build. Alright guys, we are back the following day. Last night, we had a lot of stuff to get done. So I didn't get the oil pump, the water pump, or timing components on. I did, however, ceramic coat the headers, the up pipe, ceramic coated the exhaust housing on the turbo, and test fitted everything. Honestly, it looks pretty damn good. I know you guys can't see it from there, so let's take a look at it. So everything looks nice and clean and correctly coated. So what we're going to be doing now is putting the valve covers on, closing up and sealing up this motor completely now. All we have to do is install the spark plugs after that, put the coil packs on, and then we'll move on to the oil pump, water pump, and timing belt components. After that, really, all we have to do is put the oil pan on as well and build the manifold, and this engine's ready to install. So what do we got here? We got some valve covers with brand new gaskets and seals on. We're going to be installing these. But before we install these, what I like to do is put a layer of gasket maker pretty much from these middle bolts forward or around. You're supposed to be doing it from here anyways, because typically they're prone to leak from that area. So we're going to seal it off right now. Set that right there. And these do get torqued down to 5 foot-pounds of torque. Make sure our surface is dry. Looks good. Yeah. Just a light layer, nothing excessive. Now, your valve cover inside is nice and clean. Make sure there's no debris on the gasket, everything looks good. Make sure there's no oil. Alright, now we're going to set this thing on here. Okay. And this is the same thing. We're going to go in a star pattern here. Okay, we got the center bolt. Now we're going to torque these down to 5 foot-pounds. So we're not going to fully gromp them down with this gun, but we'll kind of get them seated. Alright guys, we got a long time video. This is all sealed up. All it needs is spark plugs, coil packs. Now we're going to do the other valve cover. Alright guys, that's success. Valve covers are done. Now we're going to start on, well, I'll worry about the spark plugs and coil packs last when we do the manifold. But now we're going to start on the oil pump and water pump. Alright guys, so big shout out to IAG for this really awesome timing belt kit. We're going to be installing this right now, of course, after we get the cam gears and stuff on. But right now we have a 12mm oil pump. This one does have WPC treated gears. So we're going to be installing this bad boy right here. We're going to be installing the water pump, the plastic for the timing cover for the backing of it, and then we're going to install the gears. After that, we'll install this beautiful IAG timing belt kit. So let's get started. So first off, we're going to go over this with gasket maker. And again, not too much, but not too lightly. All right. Now these are going to get bolted down to 14.7, but I like to bolt it down to 5 foot-pounds. Line it up with the dowel pins. Okay, so we've got the hardware. Now these do, when you put them in, you torque them down to sequence, just go around. You know, all it is going in a big circle. Yep, looks good. Now we'll torque them down. So 4.7, but also down to 5. Alright, that's on. Now we're going to put the seal on. Alrighty, we got the seal on. Now we're going to put the crank on. Sorry, the crank sprocket. Crank pulley. Whatever it is, okay? I get it. It's for the crank. It's for the timing. It has timing marks on it. So, install this guy. That. Cool. Line up the mark. Or you could have just put this on and lined it up with a bolt, but it's all good. So we're going to put the water pump on. After the water pump, we're going to put the plastics on for the timing cover, and then put all of the cam pulleys on, which those also have to be torqued as well. So let's get to it. So we got the oil pump on. We have the water pump on, the lines on. Now all we have to do is put the back of the timing covers on, which are up there on the toolbox. Then we're going to put the cam phasers on, or the cam sprockets, cam pulleys, sorry. And then we're going to install this IAG timing belt kit. So let's get to it. Now I haven't installed the oil pan or the dipstick yet, but that's fine because regardless, what we're going to end up doing anyways is put all that stuff back on after we get the timing belt on. Now I know in some cases it is a little difficult to get it through here, you know, down behind the timing cover and through these hoses right here, but you know, if you just take your time, it's actually not that difficult. So let's get to it. Alright, we got that on. Now we can get the tensioner bracket on. We got to take this off because this is an old one, and we're going to be replacing all of the idler pulleys. So we got everything on. We got the plastic timing, back timing covers on. The tensioner, we got this bolt installed. And it goes from the tensioner to the pulley. Oh, there's my little boy. So now we're gonna install those cam pulleys, cam phasers. So these do have a torque rating where you have to torque them down. All of them too say intake right hand, so that's going to be the right hand side. This is going to be your right exhaust. Yeah. Now these cams, what I'm doing here is these cams have dowel pins, and you have to align the cam pulley with the dowel pins, and it's going to be with that right there. That's where the dowel pin sits. Usually you can turn it a couple times and you'll feel it kind of just fall into place and sit more flush. So that's usually when you know that it's where it's supposed to be. So just line it up. Yeah, there's another one. All right, everything's in place. So now we're gonna get the hand pulley bolts, ACS bolts. Install these. All right, guys. So we got the cam pulleys on. These are torqued down to 22 foot-pounds and then an additional 45 degrees. Now we're going to continue with putting on the tensioner pulleys. The tensioner and the idler pulleys. And then we're going to proceed with putting on the timing belt. So without further ado, let's get started. So all of these do have torque specs, which is going to be 28.8 and 18.4 for the little guy, and these right here, which I already torqued down to 18. Unfortunately, I didn't get that on camera, but that's fine. But the small idler pulley is going to be 18.4. So the good thing is about most belts and IAG, Gates, or ISM, they come with these lines right here. The dotted line, this one's going to get lined up on the crank, and the remaining of these are going to line up on the cam pulleys. So I already have this side lined up. I like to do these kind of last unless they hold. So you know, we'll see if they kind of stick into place. But I like to do these last. I do not have my cam pulley holder tool from Company 23, so unfortunately I can't use it. So I'm just doing a regular wrench and it's a millimeter Allen socket. Put this under there. Yeah. And has an arrow, so arrow goes this way. All right, guys, the belt's on. It looks very snazzy, very good. So now we're gonna pull the tensioner pin. I like to call it the grenade pin, but we got all of the parts on, everything torqued down to spec. We're ready to throw on the timing cover and call it a day. Maybe on the next build we do, we'll convince the customer to do a clear timing cover with this belt. IAG, again, let me give them another shout out. I'm not sponsored by them, but you know, it is good to have their products as they have very good quality products. Now, if there is one thing I would say is it didn't come with a spacer tool to put in between any of these, which is fine. You know, I have a bunch lying around, so it is what it is. Other than that, everything else looks pretty damn quality when it comes to IAG timing belts. I highly do recommend, especially for the price. You know, if you don't get a water pump, you just get the belt kit. You know, it's definitely worth it in the end. So take a look at them, and let's get a close up here. So as you can see, these are the alignment, the lines to line up with the cam pulleys. There's that nice IAG bracket right there, and these are NTN pulleys, idler pulleys, so factory. So yeah, everything looks good. Big shout out again, definitely 100%. First time for us using these on customers' builds. Let me zoom out here. Oops. But yeah, first time for a customer's build, definitely get one if you can afford it. So we're gonna put the timing cover back on and probably call it a night. We got a few other engines we gotta finish. So one of them is, it's a mess in here, but one of them is this one. We need to finish this engine. It's for the 2018 STI right there, 2017. So we gotta finish this engine and move on to the next. So, all right guys, and we gotta clean up the shop. So see you tomorrow. What's up guys? We're back at it again. It is the following day and we do have the timing belt and timing cover on. I do need to tighten some of the hardware, some of the bolts on this timing cover. It may look like it's finished, but it's not. This intake manifold is not even close to being done yet. So today we are going to disassemble it and reassemble it, go through all the parts that we have, and put new gaskets on it, the TGV deletes, the injectors, everything. We've gone through everything. It's going to get a 4-bar map sensor, pretty much everything you can think of. Without further ado, let's get started on removing this intake manifold. This engine is pretty much ready to go besides the coolant crossover pipe. Really, I mean, there's not much left. But really, we need to get on this intake manifold so that way we can get to the next step. So, let's do this. So, underneath this table, we got a box of parts, which we'll go through. But first, let's get all of the old parts off and prep this intake manifold for all of the new parts. Now, a majority of these parts, with the customer's consent and budget, some of them are good, low-mile used parts that have been double-checked, pressure tested. Let's get to the teardown process. I'll kind of guide you guys through this. We're going to start with removing the harness. Right back here, there's a 12, so we'll move the 12. We're going to unplug all of our wires, plug this sensor. We're going to completely strip this manifold down so that way we can swap all the new stuff over. There's another 12 under here, the bracket, set that right there. Another 12 under here. Set this guy right there. We're going a little closer. Another 12 in the middle. Okay. We're going to separate, these are boost controller hoses. Separate that. Okay. We're going to wrap it underneath on the other side towards the front of the manifold. So we're going to remove your grounds. Again, it's a 12. Right here, we got a zip tie. We're gonna unplug the TGV sensors. All right, just like that, you got your harness removal. I'm actually gonna set this off the table on my toolbox until we're ready for it. Okay, now we're going to remove the throttle body, which is 4 10mm bolts. Pretty simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna replace all these gaskets, so we gotta clean this throttle body anyways. For the fuel rails, we need a Phillips screwdriver to undo some of the clamps, the fuel line clamps, and pull off the hoses. This has to be taken apart in sections. So first things first is a 10 right here and a 10 on this side. That's going to separate both of the feed and return line from the intake manifold. See, now we got everything pretty free. So now what we do, since we're not going to reuse any of this, besides this kit, let's take the sensor off. Now beware, some fuel will come out of the entire fuel rails and fuel lines, so don't be alarmed. Alright, just like that. Now we are going to reuse this. Other than that, this could be put off to the side. And we'll take that piece off last and install it when we get the rest of the new fuel rails and the new fuel lines and TGV deletes. Once we get all that installed, we'll put that on. So now we're going to grab all of our intake manifold to cylinder head hardware, which is just 8 12s. We're going to set these suckers off to the side. right here, just like that. There's your throttle body bolts. Goes right here. This is for your fuel rails. This we probably don't need no more. This is for the harness and old fuel rails. We'll need a couple of those for the harness. That's pretty much it. You know, just for the heck of it, I'm just going to take this bracket off right here. Just for the heck of it. It's going to be a 10 up front and a 12 in the back. Just like that. Now we got your boost controller off. Again, set it off to the side. Now we're going to remove the old TGVs. 6 10mm bolts. Six on each side, so a total of 12. Now we are going to use most of this hardware, so don't toss it just anywhere besides where you're going to put all your stuff. Okay, now, just like that, we got the TGVs off, just like that. So now we can save these and sell them as is with good sensors and TGV flaps, or we can take out the TGV flaps, the sensors, and port and polish these, maybe. We got a couple options. So we're not limited here, but again, put these off to the side. Now, for the winner chicken dinner, here, let me set this guy right here. We're gonna see all the parts that we got. We got injector dynamic fuel rails. We got ID 1300cc injectors, which were already tested previously by the old owner. And we got billet TGV deletes. So very good product. And look at that. It came with the hardware, so that's a plus. Big shout out to the gentleman that sold us these parts. We have a Cobb 4-bar map sensor. So this is gonna go on the throttle body right here. You can see that, but so 4-bar Cobb map sensor. We got an IAG competition AOS. We'll check and make sure everything's good. We got a Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator. This looks like a complete kit. We got the feed line and return line. So all of this is going to get installed on this manifold after we clean everything, and this will get installed after the engine is installed in the vehicle. So, all right, guys, let's get to the next. I'm going to finish wiping down this TGV. Making sure that it's dust free, free from any contaminants, anything that will prevent this running efficiently. That's done. So now we're going to torque down these TGVs to the manifold, 6.1 foot-pounds. Let's do this. So now we're going to torque everything down from in or out, 6.1 foot-pounds. Now everything is torqued down to spec, 6.1 foot-pounds. We're going to start installing the harness, but actually before we get to the harness, we're going to clean the throttle body with just brake cleaner, clean out any dust or grime, and then we're going to install the map sensor with the new gasket. Then we'll proceed with putting on the manifold harness. So let's do this. Alright, so we're going to remove this last bolt, and then we're going to install the 4-bar map sensor, and that's it for the throttle body, and then we'll install the throttle body with the new gasket. Nice and clean. There we go. Install this here, put it in. Alright, so now this throttle body is ready to be installed with the new gasket. Make sure we line everything up. Grab these 10mm bolts. Alright, now we're going to install the intake manifold harness, guys. We got everything else on, so after this intake manifold harness, we just need to install the turbo inlet, and that's it. This side is pretty much plugged in besides one injector harness. We got the ground strap right here. Now that does have a torque, I think it's like 13 foot-pounds, or 2 luggages. That's done. This side's done. All of the purge valve, solenoids, and all the blow-by sensors for the PCV system, all of that stuff is being eliminated, which in the tune we'll be able to just eliminate and cross out and delete all that stuff for the check engine lights. So we don't have to worry about any of that. But we do need to get some zip ties and kind of zip tie everything down on this side. For this side, we are going to mount this up. Looks like it's gonna be down here. These are fine. The old TGV plugs, those are gonna get just kind of tucked in and put away. We got our rear cam sensors, the rear cam sensor harness plug. So we're not gonna worry about that, but we're gonna plug in our injectors. Okay, we're gonna get this guy up out of the way. We're gonna wrap this part around. We got the bottom ABCS solenoid plugs. Their injector plug right here. Okay, tuck that in. This is for the solenoid, ABCS solenoid, or VVT solenoid. All right, so that honestly looks like it. So once we get this bolted onto the manifold, installed inside the vehicle, we can then worry about installing the flex fuel sensor and routing and plumbing up the remaining fuel lines. We got miscellaneous blow-by sensors, NOx sensor plugs down there, and we'll take that one off, that bracket. This is going to be for the ABCS solenoids on the exhaust side, and O2 sensor, actually yeah, ABCS solenoid. These are the coil pack wires. Same with this side, you got the coil pack wires routed down over here. So that is it. So we are pretty much wrapped up for the night on this engine and this intake manifold. This is the finished product. Obviously it looks a little funky because things are kind of everywhere right now, but once it's on the engine, it all makes sense to you guys. Or if you're familiar with it, then you know what you're looking at. So, and it looks a little funky because there's no turbo inlet on. Other than that, this is a wrap, guys. So tomorrow we will finish putting the coolant crossover pipe on, the PCV pipe system from the valve covers to the center of the block to the other side, and after that we can install this bad boy right here, and it's late, I can't talk, and that coffee is wearing out, so I am ready to hit the sack, get some sleep, and do this all over again tomorrow. We do need to install the oil pan. We got a Killer Bee pickup and baffle stock oil pan, so that's going to be installed tomorrow. The turbo will be installed tomorrow. It's a Blast 3.0 Dominator, gaskets, all that good stuff. So yeah, this is a wrap, guys. Have a good night. All right, guys, engine is going in today, so Wonton is cleaning out the engine bay and cleaning the car, so that way she looks nice and pretty as we get everything installed. I'm gonna be installing that engine, then I'll be installing this engine next. So without further ado, we're gonna have this thing get power washed right now and move on to the install, guys. Stay tuned. Okay, she's all primed up. We got the crank sensor plugged in, got the intake boot on. I'll put the cover on last, but let's fire her up. First try, baby. Woo! Yeah, that's what I call a reliable build, successful build. And we'll find out. We're gonna check for leaks right now. No leaks. All right. Some normal smoke, obviously, from old drippings and stuff like that. Yeah, it's the ceramic coat burning off the headers right now. So, besides the 2 fuel line leaks, I think we're okay. We're checking the feed line on the turbo right here. Feed line has no leaks. Down there, no leaks. Up here, no leaks. Everything looks good. Well, now we just got to clean off the engine bay and off the tuning, guys. So 12 o'clock in the morning. Unfortunately, we got a late start here, but here we go. Stay tuned, guys. All right, sorry for the glare. Coolant's in. Currently dialing some stuff in for the map, for the tune. We're a little off schedule here, but that's fine. I mean, there's not much we can do after those 2 couple fuel leaks, but it's pretty late here. We're still gonna get the car delivered. But other than that, so far so good. I'm just gonna look at the bright side here, that we got a good running engine and no leaks. Besides the 2 elbows, other than that, I mean, everything went pretty smoothly. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it should be. She's a little dusty, but that's okay. Alrighty, guys, we'll see you later.